Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into this live. Hopefully this live is finding you well and in excellent spirits. As always, it's your girl Mel of Divine Feminine Works, and I am here to help you unlock your divinity and discover your magic through tarot, astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. And tonight we are talking about the March 2022 astrology. So don't worry if you need to dip in and dip out, or if you miss it, or if you join late. You can always catch this on the replay, which will be posted on my channel probably tonight, I guess. All right. So this is my first time doing a live stream on YouTube. And so I'm using this like fancy schmancy software to make it look professional and look really nice. So bear with me because I might be looking all over the place or like fidgeting around and stuff. So, you know, whatever, but get comfortable. It's going to be kind of a long video, but definitely informative. And at the end, you will definitely know exactly what to expect from March and how to best prepare. Okay. So let me talk a little bit about the outline of how I'm going to go through everything, so you get a clear understanding of how this video is going to be structured. Okay, so I'm going to start with the general astrology for the month, like just basically what's going on in the cosmos. Then I'm going to break it down by sign, and at the end of each sign, I will pull a card for each sign. All right, so you can wait to hear your sign. Again, you can catch this on the replay if you don't have the time. So yeah, so without further ado, let's get into it, all right? So first of all, happy March. Second of all, happy new moon. I'm going to go a little in depth into the new moon since it's today. I'm going to cover the astrology for the entire month, but I'll do a separate video on the full moon so that we can get all of the goodness that goes on with that. But suffice it to say, you'll get a little bit of this new moon analysis with this general astrology, all right? Okay, so speaking of new moon, we'll start with the new moon because that's how we open the month. The last couple of months, the new moon has either been like at the first day of the month or the second day of the month. So it's sort of like we open the month with this whole new energy. You know, new moons are all about new beginnings, and it's the time where you set intentions. It's the time where you do manifestations. And this particular new moon in Pisces is like magical, not only because it's in the sign of Pisces, but it's because it's also conjunct Jupiter, which is giving this positivity and this abundance vibe to this new moon. So if there's ever been a new moon for you to really set your manifestations and dream big, it's this one. Okay, so not only that, though, there's some other interesting astrology going on with this new moon as well. There is like I said, it's Jupiter is conjunct the new moon, so it's making everything big, expansive. It's, you know, adding abundance and positivity to things. But there's also Mercury conjunct Saturn, Venus conjunct Mars, and both Venus and Mars conjunct Pluto. All right, so let me break all of that down so that you understand what it means. All right, so we went over Jupiter conjunction, right? Mercury conjunct Saturn is a sort of a very serious aspect. And basically what it adds to this new moon is this level of seriousness, this feeling of obligation. It's almost like on the one hand, Jupiter is making you feel really hopeful, and Mercury conjunct Saturn is sort of bringing you back down to reality. Whatever you experience around this new moon, especially if it has to do with negative thoughts, if it has to do with criticism, or maybe even bad news or sort of heavy emotional news, don't let it deter you from dreaming big, being expansive, and trying to manifest whatever your heart desires. It's like that little twinge of reality in this fantasy of this new moon. Okay, so try not to get too bogged down by responsibilities or negative thoughts. Try to push past that and think about and imagine exactly what you want and what you want to have, and set those seeds, plant those seeds, set those things in motion so that they can come to fruition in the near future. All right. Okay, so next, we have Venus conjunct Mars. And this has been interesting because Venus has been conjunct Mars since February 16th. You know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, you know, that whole thing. And when you put Venus and Mars together, it's love, it's sex, it's relationships, it's everything having to do with men and women, you know, smushed together. And so since February 16th, Venus and Mars have sort of been like arm in arm traveling through the sky. And so now they are conjunct in the sign of Capricorn, and they're also conjunct Pluto. So for a lot of people, this may make you feel like you want to manifest the ideal relationship, or you want to be more social, or you just find that you're very charismatic or just very horny, really. And that's sort of an extra color that conjunction is adding to this new moon, okay? So if there was ever a new moon where you wanted to plant those seeds with respect to relationships or whatever, you might want to do it at this one, especially with the conjunction to Jupiter. You're going to be more likely to reach that goal this time around with this new moon, okay? And like I said before, Venus and Mars are also conjunct Pluto at this new moon. And Pluto makes everything intense. So you're going to feel a lot with this new moon. It might bring up a lot of repressed emotions, particularly around relationship issues. It might also bring up issues of power or powerlessness. However you feel like that works out for you in your life right now, those sort of issues may come up with this new moon, particularly as it relates to relationships. So if you feel like you're really going through it, if you feel like some emotional wounds are coming up, that's because Pluto is in the mix today, all right? But still, it's still an excellent new moon to be manifesting and to be trying to get everything that you want to have. So you'll definitely want to, script. You'll definitely want to meditate. You'll definitely want to do whatever new moon rituals you do in order to set those manifestations in motion, okay? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to quickly break down the new moon for each sign, again, because today is the new moon. So why not talk about how each sign is going to be affected, all right? So we start, of course, at the beginning with Aries. So Aries, this new moon is happening in your 12th house. And typically when you have a new moon in the 12th house, it's all about sleep. I usually tell people like that's one of those new moons where you sort of sit things out because things are actually working behind the scenes. So there's not really much you can do. And you might find that with the moon being in play, you might get very sleepy or your sleep patterns might be disturbed or whatever. So for you, Aries, in order to manifest some things with this new moon, you might want to think about listening to subliminals. And I'm like the biggest advocate of that right now because that's really what's been helping me with my manifestations. But particularly for you, because this is in your 12th house and your 12th house covers rest and the subconscious, you might want to listen to an affirmation tape at night while you sleep. And that's going to help reprogram your subconscious so that you can manifest the things that you want. So for instance, let's say you're trying to manifest more money. You might want to look on YouTube and find a money manifestation, subliminal or money affirmations that you can just play on loop while you're sleeping. And it's going to help reprogram your subconscious so that you can start manifesting those things in your reality. Okay. Like I cannot speak highly enough about subliminals. If you're looking to find subliminals or, you're looking to have a custom subliminal, I actually do those for people. So check out my website. I'll put the link in the description box below so you can get that. And yes, that was definitely a shameless plug. All right. Moving on, we go to Taurus. And Taurus, for you, this new moon is happening in your 11th house of friendship and ambition. This is the house where you wish upon a star. So for Taurus, and this is Taurus rising. I forgot to mention that before. For Taurus rising, even if you're a Taurus sun, this could also apply to you, but definitely for Taurus rising, this is the house where you wish upon a star. So at this new moon, you're going to want to set really big goals. Don't be afraid to imagine the exact life that you want. And being that this is going down in your house of friendship, allow your friends to help you. Get your tribe together, communicate with your community and your associates. Talk about your goals because you never know who could lend a helping hand in order to get you to where you want to go. All right, so that is the manifestation tip for Taurus. Next up, we have Gemini. And for you, Gemini, this new moon is going down in your 10th house of career and public life. So this is all about setting career goals, okay? And this is also about being very public because the 10th house covers your public life. So if you're looking to start a YouTube channel, if you're looking to do an online course, if you're looking to just talk, blogs, whatever, this is going to be the new moon where you're going to want to manifest those things. And being that you guys are an air sign, one of the best ways for you guys to manifest is through spoken word. So affirmations, scripting, anything that has to do with thoughts or writing and communication. That's going to be the best way for you guys to get those manifestations started. All right. Next up, we have Cancer. And for Cancer, this new moon is going down in your 9th house of higher education and long distance travel. This is also the house of spirituality. So this is sort of the house where you broaden your horizons, you expand your mind, and you experience things that you've never experienced before. So for some of you, this may be a great time to plant those seeds, to take a trip to an exotic new location. Maybe you want to go back to school. Maybe you want to start a legal proceeding, because the 9th house also covers legal proceedings. So now would be the best time to do that. Being that you are an intuitive sign and a water sign, you guys may want to meditate on the things that you want. You may want to, I always suggest candle work because that works well for a lot of people, but particularly for Cancer, if you want to do candle work, you're going to want to put your candle in some water. That definitely always amplifies the manifestations. This is rising. This is rising sign. Yes. Let's see. Yep. Rising. Okay. All right. So moving right along, we get to Leo. So Leo, this new moon is going down in your 8th house of intimacy, transformation, and shared resources. So for you, this could help you set a completely clean slate for yourself. You can have a complete transformation from the inside out during this new moon. And for you, being a fire sign, you're going to want to do candle work. You're going to want to, I would say candle work would be the best for you guys since you're a fire sign. But yeah, this is also the time where you're going to want to do some soul searching. The 8th house covers psychology. It covers your mind. So it may be a time for you to really reflect on the things that you want. This is also a time where your emotional wounds may come up. So you're going to want to process those and clear it, you know, all of that good stuff. So this new moon can be very intense for you guys. But if you do the work, you can really change your life around with this new moon. All right. Next up, we have Virgo. And for Virgo, for you, the new moon is going down in your 7th house of relationships. So if you want to get booed up, if you want to get married, you want to move in together, you want to find somebody, you want to commit to someone or something. It doesn't have to be romantic. It could be business. It could be contracts. It could be work. This is the new moon to manifest those. Okay. And for earth signs, one of the things that I love to do, or at least that I've advised people to do, being that you're an earth sign and obviously you deal with the earth, you deal with tangible things, you may want to set an intention with an actual seed and plant it. And by watering it, by meditating over it on a regular basis, it's like you're actually feeding your intention. So if you're looking to manifest something particularly long term, and this could go for anyone, not necessarily just earth signs, but you're going to want to like literally plant a seed in soil, watch it grow, and like pray over it and charge it with your intention and watch it grow. And that way, that's sort of I don't know what to call it, but I advised someone to do that one time, and I think she manifested a husband and a house that way. Not to say that it's guaranteed, but getting in the habit of cultivating your intentions is actually a really good thing. Okay. So next up we have Libra, and for Libra, the new moon is going down in your 6th house of work and health. Now, the 6th house can be kind of boring. That's the house of work. It's your day-to-day it's not even your day-to-day activities. It's your service that you provide to others. So it's your job. It's your responsibilities that you have on a daily basis. It also covers your physical body in the sense of your health and your well-being. And so at the new moon, obviously you have a clean slate to start new things. You can try to be more efficient at work, more organized, be more of service to others. If you're looking to change jobs, you may want to set those intentions at the new moon. If you're looking to get your health under control, if you're looking to change your health or your body, this is also the time to do that. So yeah, it's basically a change to your everyday life. And that's sort of the energy that you have to work with this new moon. Okay. Moving right along, we get to Scorpio. And for you, this is going down in your 5th house of creativity, romance, and children. The fifth house is the fun house. It's the house of self-expression. It's the house of dating, romance, kids, entertainment. So if you're looking to implement any of those things in your life, now would be a time to get started. If you're looking to start dating, now is a great time, particularly with Venus conjunct Mars, like I mentioned before. If you're looking to conceive kids, now is also the best time for that, particularly again with Venus conjunct Mars. And Jupiter expands things, so you already know where I'm going with this. But more than that, it may not even be just about giving birth to a child. It may be giving birth to a creative endeavor, which is also covered by the fifth house. So for Scorpio, if you have a creative hobby that you're into, that you really want to, do more of or express yourself through, now would be the time to start those things. Okay. Moving right along, we have Sagittarius, and for you, this new moon is going down in your fourth house of home and domestic affairs. And the fourth house is everything that it sounds like. It's your physical home, it's your family members, your close family members, it's your lineage, it's your basic emotional needs. All of those things are covered by the fourth house. So if you're looking to purchase property, you may want to start the process now. If you're looking to change residences, again, best time to start it at this new moon. Also, if you're looking to relocate someplace far, this is also the best time with the conjunction to Jupiter. So Jupiter is not just about expansion, it's also about things being at a distance. So if you want to move cross country, if you want to move across the world, you may want to plant those seeds now so that they can actually happen in the future. If you're looking to do anything with family, expand your family, maybe have more children, maybe someone in your family is expecting at this time, all of that is also possible at this new moon. Okay, next up we have Capricorn, and for you Capricorn, the new moon is going down in your third house of communication, ideas, siblings, and your immediate environment. Whenever you have a placement in the third house, things tend to be very busy. It's very busybody energy. And it definitely covers your immediate vicinity, so your neighborhood, your block, your town. It covers short distance travel. So maybe this right now, or maybe this weekend, you'll want to take a quick trip someplace. Maybe you want to get something started within your neighborhood. Maybe you want to get something started with your siblings or extended family members. All of that is up for grabs at this new moon, okay? Next up is Aquarius, and this new moon is going down in your second house of money and material possessions. And money house, it's your personal finances and assets. And so being that this is a new moon, if you want to implement a savings plan, a financial plan, you want to implement a new stream of income, if you want to acquire a big ticket item, now is the time to do it at this new moon. Okay, pretty straightforward. And then finally we have Pisces. And for you Pisces, of course, Pisces rising, this is going down in your first house of self. New moons in the first house are all about reinventing yourself. It's also about a clean slate when it comes to perhaps your physical body, your outlook, your attitude, whatever personal goals you have, whatever personal goals you can think of or imagine, particularly with this new moon in your sign, imagination is going to be really key for you. All of those things can be changed at this new moon. You can really manifest anything you want at this new moon because it really covers you and your attitude and your thoughts. So again, it's like a clean slate for you guys. All right. Okay, so that's pretty much the new moon, which is again happening today. And that sort of opens up the month for us. And I love that energy because it's new, it's fresh, but it's also very positive, again, with the Jupiter conjunction, all right? So I'm going to go through the month chronologically so we can see everything that's going on. But first, it bears mentioning that every single planet is moving direct this month. And that's important because when you have retrogrades, it's almost like you have to take a couple of steps back. It's about not taking action. It's about reflecting inward. It's all about being introverted and introspective as opposed to being expressive and extroverted. But since we don't have any retrogrades this month, it's all about forward movement and momentum. So you may even feel like this energy of being like pushed or being, motivated and driven, especially once the sun heads into Aries. Like, you're really going to feel like you have a battery in your back. Okay. But just keep in mind that this is a month of action. This is a month of expression. This is a month of really going after the things that you want and really taking advantage of a lot of these astrological transits. Sometimes these transits sort of have us take a back seat. But this month, it's go time. It's really about moving forward and making things happen in your life. So it's a great time and a great month for that. All right. So like I said, we have the new moon in Pisces today. The next thing that we have is on March 6th, and that is Venus and Mars are going to be moving into Aquarius. So earlier I said that Venus and Mars were conjunct, and they've sort of been arm in arm traveling through the sky since last month. So they were in Capricorn, right? And now they're going to be transiting into Aquarius. Aquarius is a sign of innovation. It's a sign of rebellion. It's a sign of really thinking, particularly futuristic thinking. So basically what this means with Venus conjunct Mars in Aquarius is that when it comes to relationships, when it comes to sex, when it comes to anything dealing with the sexes, there's going to be this energy of rebellion, of sort of doing things in an unconventional way. It may be even doing things in a way that's unique to you. Okay. It may also mean that you are you're thinking about these things a lot, but not in a very mundane way, in a very sort of, oh, thank you. I see your comment. Thank you so much. You're going to want to take this in a very futuristic sort of way. You're going to want to think of it in a way that benefits you in the future. And so Mars and Venus are going to be in Aquarius for a good part of the month. So this is the time where you're going to want to think about what you want your relationships to look like in the future. How do you want them to be structured? And in thinking about these things, you don't have to think about them in the rigid way that we're sort of taught to think about relationships. You can really open your mind and have things go in a completely different direction. If everyone's going left, you can go right. And you may be able to find other people who think the same way, because Aquarius energy is all about humanity. It's sort of about finding your tribe. So you may be able to connect with people who think the same way as you do when it comes to relationships. Okay. But suffice it to say, relationships are going to be a thing. They've been a thing since February. They're going to continue to be a focus this month as well. So if you want to make changes on that front, if you want to, have a breath of fresh air in that sector of your life, this is definitely the month to get that done. All right. So next up, we have Mercury moving into Pisces on March 9th. And Mercury does not like to be in Pisces. Pisces is very dreamy. It's very ethereal. It's very imaginative. And Mercury is very mercurial. It's very logical. It's very analytical. And so Mercury in Pisces is like logic getting lost in the sauce. It's almost like you have to suspend your logic and tap into your imagination, tap into your intuition. Even the way that you communicate with people may be different, because instead of being very calculated and very, straightforward and very logical, you may be communicating with people in very unspoken ways. Particularly if we're talking about Pisces, it's very intuitive. It's more like about vibes instead of about, like rational thinking. And so, like I said, Mercury is in detriment in Pisces. So communication can also be a little frustrated. If we're talking about communicating via intuition, like a lot can get lost in translation. So it's very imperative that during this time, and it's going to be for about like 2.5 weeks, that you sort of be easy with yourself and others, because there may be a lot said that's not really said, okay? But apart from that, Mercury in Pisces is all about your imagination. You're going to want to tap into that. Dream a little. Put on the rose-colored glasses for a little bit. It's not going to kill you. And I know for signs like Gemini and Virgo that are very mercurial, because you guys are ruled by Mercury, it may be very difficult and it may have you feeling out of your element and out of sorts, but just go with it. Go with the flow. That's like the theme for Pisces, just generally, just go with the flow and it'll be cool. All right. Also, it may give you a very active dream state. So pay attention to your dreams during this time. You may want to keep a dream journal. You may want to write down your dreams or look at, dream interpretations, because your dream state may be very vivid. Okay. All right, so moving right along, the next thing that we have is the full moon in Virgo, and that's going down on March 18th. So we have the new moon on the 2nd, and then mid-month we have the full moon. So the new moon is all about setting new intentions. The full moon is when those intentions, well, not those particular intentions, but it's when intentions and manifestations come to fruition. It's like at the new moon, you plant the seed, and at the full moon, the fruit is actually ripe on the tree for picking, okay? So Virgo as a sign is very analytical. Like I said before, it's ruled by Mercury. Virgo is also very methodical, very detail oriented, very perfectionist. Okay. It's about crossing your T's, dotting your I's, and doing everything perfectly, right? And full moons also illuminate. So it's not just that things come to fruition. It's also that it sheds light on things that have been in the dark. Now, full moons are when the moon and the sun are opposite. So it highlights a different axis every full moon. And the axis that is being highlighted at this full moon is the Pisces Virgo axis. So it's almost like the difference between realism and like imagination, fantasy. It's also the difference between your spiritual body with Pisces and your physical body with Virgo. Virgo is all about the things you can touch, feel, things that are real, things that you can prove via evidence. Where Pisces is all about the fantastical. It's all about the things that you can't prove, the things that you can't see. That's why spirituality and faith are a part of the 12th house. Pisces, I should say. Because those are the things that you can't see. You believe in it, but you don't have any tangible evidence. And so this is the axis that's going to be highlighted at the full moon on March 18th. And for some, it may show you where that axis is out of balance. Some of you may be living in the dream state too much. You may be living in fantasy, depending on wherever it falls in your chart. And the full moon is going to show you where you kind of have to dial that back and come back down to earth. Whereas some of you may be like too real, too fact-based, too evidence-based, and you're not leaving enough room for spirit and for faith and for spirituality. So at that full moon, that's when that axis is going to be highlighted. So a lot of people are maybe feeling a bit unsettled, particularly if you're being shown a lot of things that you may find uncomfortable, because sometimes the full moon can be very emotional. For other people, the axis also covers service. So Virgo is all about service that you provide like for others in a tangible way, in a day-to-day sort of way. Whereas Pisces covers service to humanity through charity, through altruism and things like that. So that may be a theme for you at that full moon, okay? But regardless, it's going to show us where our lives are sort of out of balance when it comes to our real life and our spiritual life. So that's pretty much what we have to look forward to at that full moon. And again, I'm going to do a separate video on that so we can go through that in depth and talk about that with all the signs, all right? So next up, we have the sun in Aries. And this is a pretty major event because this is the start of the astrological new year. So things are actually right now winding down. Pisces season is about winding down, wrapping up. Pisces also covers karma. So some of the things that you've done in the past year, perhaps, or maybe even longer, maybe coming back to bite you in the ass, or maybe coming back to reward you. Again, it's about winding down and wrapping up. And then come March 20th, it's Aries season. It's go time. It's a new astrological year. That's the time when you get revved up and motivated to do new things. Spring begins at that time. Well, actually, spring begins on the 23rd, I believe. But the 20th is also the spring equinox. So there's a lot of spring-like energy at that time. It's a lot of newness. It almost feels like, I'm not going to say it feels like a new moon, but it's definitely an energy of renewal, okay? And again, that is about being bold, starting new things, being headstrong. And that's when spring begins, all right? And that's sort of the major event of the month. And then finally, the last thing that we have is Mercury moving into Aries, and that's going down on March 27th. So like I said before, Mercury had moved into Pisces where it was really uncomfortable, where it was like lost in the sauce and too ethereal. And then come March 27th, Mercury is going to move into Aries. And that's when you're going to get very sharp thinking. It's when you're going to want to act. Your thoughts are going to be very bold and dynamic. You're going to feel this push to start new things, maybe even to learn new things, to talk to new people. It's also about being headstrong. It's about being very opinionated. You may be aggressive with your speech, particularly with others. Mercury in Aries is all about fighting words. So you're really going to want to watch what you say with Mercury in Aries, because that's where people want to pop off. That's where people want to get real rude. People are just really going to be very amped up at that time. But it's also great for getting your opinion across, expressing yourself. You may come across as like arrogant, very opinionated, cocky, but it really is a good transit for expressing yourself. All right. And that's pretty much how we end the month. End it sort of on a strong note with that Mercury in Aries. But it's interesting because I was doing research on March in general, and March is a very weird month. You've got, a lot of energy shifts. And, as I've just explained with the astrology this month, we've got quite a few planets changing signs. So there's this energy of shifting, of newness with this, glorious new moon. And just a lot of shifts. Like, you're going to feel a lot of things changing in different sectors of your life, depending on where all of this is going down in your chart. But March generally is just an interesting and sort of weird month because we have the spring equinox. We have the beginning of the astrological new year. There's this saying that March comes in like a lion and leaves like a lamb. So that right there shows you the energy shifts, right? It comes in strong and then it leaves on a quiet note. Although I don't necessarily think that's true, because March ends in Aries season, and Aries is anything but a lamb. Aries is very dynamic, it's bold. But regardless, a lot of energy shifts in March. So roll with the punches and use the energy to your advantage. Like I said before, it's all about forward momentum. All planets are direct, all systems go. So it's time to really get moving, get out there and get what it is that you want and that you need this month. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into each sign and give you like a brief synopsis of what's going on for that sign this month. And then I will pull a card for each sign. All right. So of course, as always, first we've got Aries. So Aries, this month you have an emphasis on your 12th house and your first house. So when the sun is in your 12th house during Pisces season, that is the time for you to rest and recharge. This season for all of us, this season before our solar return is always marked by rest. Once your birthday hits, you want to turn up. You feel like it's your personal new year. So you need to rest up for that. And when the sun is in your 12th house, that's when you do a lot of introspection. It's when you think about how the last year has transpired. It's when you think about how you want this new year to be. You rest, you recharge, and you get ready for your season. And that's what the beginning of the month looks like for you, Aries. And then come March 20th, it's your time. It's your time to shine. It's your solar return. It's spring. Turn up, be loud, be your Aries self. That's exactly what Aries season means for you, okay? So for you, it's like March comes in like a lamb and leaves like a lion. Like the end of the month is really going to be a turn up for you, right? So your ruling planet Mars is conjunct Venus all month, like I mentioned before. So relationships are really a thing for you. And so during your sun being in the 12th house, I feel like a lot of you may be really thinking about your relationships. Maybe it'll be time to end a relationship. And, come your season, you're either single and ready to mingle, or you are trying to find somebody new, right? So you're definitely going to have relationships on the brain. A lot of you are going to want to take bold action when it comes to relationships, particularly once Venus conjunct Mars moves into Aquarius. You guys are going to do something new and something really innovative in your current relationship or in finding a new one. So that's pretty much how that is going to go. Mars will be conjunct Pluto on the 2nd as well. So this can denote power struggles. So today and the next couple of days, you may want to lay low a little bit, because relationships and the propensity to fight in relationships is going to be really high. And some of you may feel like there's like power struggles. Maybe one partner has more power over the other, or vice versa. You know what I mean? And that could cause conflict. So you're going to want to lay low. You're not going to want to pop off at anything, because things can get really intense very quickly. Okay. And then on the 22nd, Mars is going to square Uranus. So how this is going to play out for you is that you're going to want to be rebellious and break free, particularly from relationships or maybe from groups that you relate to. And so this could cause conflict. And this may have to do with money or assets. The way the astrology is set up around that time. So again, this is around March 22nd. You're going to want to be careful when it comes to friends and money, or lending money or borrowing money or whatever, because this may cause some serious drama. It may cause some serious conflict that could end a particular relationship. Okay. So forewarned is forearmed. All right. And that's pretty much how the month looks for you. So if you are an Aries, happy birthday. Well, happy early birthday, I should say. Live your life to the fullest, turn up, all that good stuff once your season begins. All right. So, sorry, I have something in my nose. There we go. All right. So let's get a card for Aries and see what Spirit has for you for March 2022. Interesting. Aries, I'm sensing this like sense of reluctance because I'm not getting a card at all. Ah, there we go. Interesting. All right, we've got power. Hope you can see that, right? And then we've got growth. This is exactly what I was talking about before. So power struggles. You're going to want to be very wary of this in relationships this month, because particularly at this time, because Venus and Mars are going to be conjunct Pluto at this new moon for the next couple of days. So power struggles, you're going to want to be mindful of that. And then also at this new moon, we have growth, and this represents Jupiter. So for some of you, when it comes to this new moon, which is going down in your 12th house, right? This speaks to spiritual growth. So some of you may really want to take some time to really connect with your higher self, connect with God, whomever you connect with. You're going to want to do that because there is a lot of spiritual growth to be gained this month for you. All right. So hopefully you guys got something out of that. And let's move on to the next sign, which is Taurus. All right, Taurus. So for you, for March, you have an emphasis on your 11th house and your 12th house. So during Pisces season, the sun is going to be in your 11th house of friendship and goals and ambitions. So at that time, you're going to focus on your associations, your friendships. You're also going to think about the things that you really want to achieve in life. The 11th house is the house where you wish upon a star. So this is where you make lofty dreams, lofty ambitions, and you literally wish upon a star, right? This is also where the new moon is going down. So you're going to want to set your intentions really big, like dream big, okay? And don't be afraid to do that. All right. You're also, with the sun in your 11th house, it may also find you being very social. It may find you being, dealing with people in different, like-minded communities, like people that you vibe with, your tribe, all of that stuff. Group think is also a thing with the 11th house. So you may, you may connect with people who think the same way as you. Like 11th house always reminds me of like Facebook groups and things like that. So that may be something that is a focus for you when the sun is in Pisces in your 11th house. And when the sun moves into Aries, that is going to be your 12th house. And like I explained in the Aries portion, the season before your solar return is always marked by rest. So come Aries season on the 20th, that's the time for you guys to power down, to rest, reflect, recharge, and get ready for your season that's coming next month in April. All right. So for you guys, your ruling planet is Venus. And like I said before, like I feel like I've said this a million times, Venus and Mars are conjunct. So relationships are going to be a thing for you, right? With Venus and Mars conjunct Pluto, this may be ending relationships for you. It also may be intense sexual urges. Taurus is a very sensual sign. Being an earth sign, you guys are concerned with the five senses. So when it comes to sex, you guys are very sensual. And with Pluto in the mix, that's only gonna add fuel to the fire, right? So if you find that you have these intense sexual urges, you can blame the astrology, all right? Just make sure that you're being safe out there and you're not doing anything crazy. All right. This may also signify emotional trauma from past relationships that are coming up. I mean, this is definitely the theme for all of us with Venus conjunct Mars conjunct Pluto. But for you guys, since you guys are ruled by Venus, you, Libra, and Scorpio and Aries that are ruled by Mars are going to be feeling this the most. So if you find that you have a lot of trauma coming up, it's for a reason. It's for you to deal with it, process it, release it so that you can have healthy relationships. Maybe some of you, this trauma or these emotional wounds that are coming up, it may be to help you get out of a situation that you're in right now. I mean, only you know how that's going to work out, but don't shy away from any intense emotions that come up, okay? All right. And so on the 19th, Venus is going to square Uranus. And so how this may play out for you is that this is issues of identity and your aesthetics in conflict with your work environment or your work relationships. And all that means is that for you guys have Uranus in your first house. And me being a Taurus rising, I could attest to the fact that I've looked different. My looks have really changed. How I've wanted to look has changed. And if I were to work in a corporate environment, the way that I want to look may not necessarily vibe well with my corporate environment. Like, let's say you want to get a face tattoo or you want to get your nose pierced and you work a really corporate job. Like, that is sort of how this transit is going to play out. It's not even just at work. It could also be with the public. Maybe you want to do something really radical with your looks or with your body that the public may find like repugnant or may find like really weird or crazy. And it's sort of like, do I choose my identity or do I go with the flow with everyone in the crowd? Like, you're going to want to be mindful of how you feel about that around the 19th, because that's how that transit is going to play out. And then on the 28th, Venus is going to be conjunct Saturn. And this transit is all about getting serious about relationships. Saturn is all about crystallizing things. It's all about putting things into a structure, into a box. And so at that time, you either want to get serious about relationships, or you may want to get serious about your money or your creativity, since Venus also covers those things. And it's about putting a structure in place in order to move those things forward into the future. So for some of you, this may be putting a financial plan together. It may be saving for something. It may be solidifying a relationship at that time. Any of those things are really up for grabs with that transit. And again, that's going down on March 28th. All right. So it's pretty much what you have to look forward to, Taurus. Let's get a card and see what Spirit has in store for you for this month. Ooh, that fell, but I am inclined to take it. All right. Interesting. For you, we've got transformation. Well, it says transmute, okay? This is giving me very kundalini, very sexual vibes, all right? So remember I said before, you guys may have intense sexual urges this month. And it's interesting because this was a download I got a couple of days for myself, actually. Transmute your sexual energy into something creative and lucrative. It's not, I've been seeing a lot about, like Kegel exercises and semen retention and all of that stuff. And I feel like that this goes with what I'm saying. It's like the ability to use your sexual energy to transmute it into something creative and to actually create and manifest things in your life is like a really big deal. And for you, Taurus, I think that's exactly what you need to do this month. I think it's going to help you get ahead. I think it's going to help you get what you want out of life. So yeah, take that sexual energy and put it to different use and see how that feels for you. It could mean that you are celibate for a little bit. It could mean that you're sort of changing your sexual lifestyle. But regardless, I think that it's really going to help you to transmute the sexual energy. So give it a try this month and see how it affects your manifestations. All right. So that was Taurus. So now let's get into Gemini. All right, Gemini. So for you, March has an emphasis on your 10th house of career and public life and your 11th house of friends, associations, goals, and ambitions. So Pisces season finds you really like career minded. It finds you trying to climb the corporate ladder. It finds you really focusing on your public life as well. Could be your social standing, could be your reputation. All of those things are covered by the 10th house. And with the sun in Pisces in your 10th house, that is where your consciousness and your focus is going to go. All right. And then once the sun moves into Aries, you're going to shift gears and your focus is going to be directed towards friends, associations, goals, and all of that stuff. Okay. So really, it's like the first half of the month, you guys are really focused on either getting ahead, doing new things, maybe being creative in your job. And then the second half of the month will find you being a lot more social, maybe finding people that can help you, or maybe, communing with people who are in your industry, people who, business associations, sort of people that you can work with, particularly with the sun in Aries, Aries being a cardinal fire sign. You guys are going to want to start new projects with people. You're going to want to enter new networking groups or communities at that time. Okay. So for you guys, your ruling planet is Mercury, and Mercury moves pretty fast. So Mercury has quite a few transits this month. Okay. So the first is that Mercury is transiting between your 9th house and your 11th house this month. So it starts out in Aquarius, then it goes into Pisces, and then it goes into Aries. Okay, so your 9th, 10th, and 11th houses are going to be highlighted in that way. And all that means is that your thoughts and communications are going to be geared towards your public life, your spirituality, broadening your horizons, your goals, friendships, and associations. All right. On the 17th, Mercury is going to be sextile Uranus. And at that time, you're going to feel like your thoughts are like rapid fire style. Like you're going to have your mind is going to be alert. You're going to be talking a mile a minute. Like things are just going to be like this, just really busy. Your mind is going to be really busy at that time. So you're going to want to use that energy to your advantage. And the best way to do that is to make plans, study, research, strategize, give presentations. All of those things are really going to thrive under that transit. And again, that is March 17th. Okay. Next transit you guys have is Mercury conjunct Jupiter on the 21st. And that's one of the really great transits because it gives you good news, it gives you good communication, it gives you a positive attitude, and business transactions also go well under that transit. So if you're looking to transact any business, sign any contracts, you're going to want to do it on the 21st of March, okay? And that goes for everyone, not just for Gemini because you guys are ruled by Mercury, but on that day, you're going to want to transact business, sign contracts, all that good stuff. All right. The next transit for you guys is Mercury conjunct Neptune, and that's on the 23rd. And this is when you're going to have a lot of creative ideas. If you do any sort of creative writing, even if you do any sort of mundane writing, you can add a lot of creativity to it at that time. It's also going to be like a time where you're not going to be thinking so logically. So at that time, you can let your imagination wander. You can really think outside the box. It's really great for understanding other people, understanding people that are different than you, understanding humanity. It's a great transit for that. All right. And the last transit you guys have is Mercury sextile Pluto, and that's going down on March 26th. At that time, it's going to be a lot of intense mental effort. Your thoughts are going to be really deep. You're going to have the propensity to investigate things really well, research things really well. If you're looking to get to the bottom of something, find the truth of something, Mercury sextile Pluto is definitely going to be the transit for that. And again, that's going down on the 26th. It also might be a really good day for contracts and negotiations. So keep that in mind as well. All right, Gemini. So that's pretty much what you have to look forward to for the month. So let's get a card for you for March. All right. Interesting. We've got meditate. And this is pretty self-explanatory, particularly when Mercury goes into Pisces on the 9th. So between the 9th and the 27th, you guys are going to want to do a lot of meditation because that is where you're going to find a lot of the answers that you're seeking. Mercury in Pisces is not about logic. It's about listening to your intuition, your higher self, to God, the universe. You're able to do that better with Mercury in Pisces. And so some of you may have a problem. Some of you may are looking for a solution of some sort. Rather than try to rationalize or really think a solution into existence, you guys really need to meditate and allow the solution to come to you. All right. All right. So that was Gemini. So moving right along, we get to Cancer. All right, Cancer. So for you, you guys have an emphasis on your 9th house of higher education and long distance travel. And you have an emphasis on your 10th house of career and public life. So during Pisces season, your 9th house is going to be lit. And the 9th house covers things like philosophy, religion, higher education, legal situations, long distance travel, anything to expand your mind and have you experience different things are governed by the 9th house. And so at that time, you're going to want to live a little. You're going to want to be adventurous. There's a lot to learn, but the way that the 9th house works is that you learn via experience. So rather than reading a book on Bali, go to Bali if you can. Rather than read about, a particular religion or philosophy, immerse yourself in it so that you learn through experience. And so a lot of you are going to be learning a lot through experience, even if you don't realize it, because that's sort of where your consciousness is going to be when the sun is in Pisces. Okay. And then once the sun moves into Aries, your 10th house of career and public life is going to be lit up. And at that time, it's going to be time to get serious. It's going to be time to get disciplined, diligent with work. It's going to be time to focus on your career, on your social status, on your reputation. If you are a business owner, when the sun is in your 10th house, that is when you really get ideas. That's when you should really brand yourself. Because the sun is in your house, it's shining, it's right at the top of the chart. It's like the perfect time to do that. Okay. So you guys are ruled by the moon, and the moon changes signs every day. And for most of you, your mood changes every day as well. You guys tend to be very moody, very in touch with your emotions and all of that. And so for you, I'm just going to talk about the moons, the new moon and the full moon for you guys. So the new moon is in Pisces, which is in your 9th house. Being that there's a conjunction to Jupiter with this new moon, some of you may experience a lot of spiritual growth with this new moon. Some of you may have something that happens to you or that you go through or that you can take a lesson from that will help you expand your mind spiritually and maybe even regain or renew your faith in religion, in spirituality, in God, in whatever you believe in. So some of you might have a really spiritual experience with the new moon. The full moon in Virgo is going to be in your 3rd house. And so at that time, you guys are going to be very busy. A lot of you may be like really busy with like transacting business. You guys may be busy in your neighborhood. You may be busy with siblings, but whatever it is at that time, you guys are probably going to be very much in service to others, either in your neighborhood or around the way or whatever. But you guys are going to be very busy, very on the go, very social. And it may show you just, are you giving too much of yourself to others or, are you setting healthy boundaries? I think that's what that full moon is going to show you guys. Okay. And so for the most part, everything else that I spoke about in the general astrology portion will apply to you. But I just wanted to highlight the moons because you guys are ruled by the moon. All right. So let's get a card for you, Cancer. Cancer rising, I should say, for March 2022. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we've got message. Hopefully you guys don't see the glare. So we've got message and we've got friendship. All right. So for you guys, I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory. You guys may receive a message from a friend. And I get the sense that this message is going to be very positive. There's something about your 3rd house, the full moon in Virgo, which I feel is going to highlight something for you. Some of you may be getting a message from a friend that's at a distance from you. Maybe they're in a different state or a different country, or maybe they're just estranged from you. Some of you may be getting a message from a friend that's in your immediate vicinity, but I get the sense that a positive message is coming to you via a friend this month. So you're going to want to look out for that and keep your ears open, because I think it's going to be pretty good. Whatever it is, it's going to be transformative. I feel like it's really going to change your outlook, or it's just going to change you at a very core level. Okay. So again, keep your ears and eyes open for that. All right, so that was Cancer. So now let's move on to Leo. All right, Leo. So for you, you have an emphasis on your 8th house of transformation, intimacy, and shared resources, and your 9th house of higher education and long distance travel. So while the sun is in Pisces, it's going to light up your 8th house of sex, intimacy, transformation, and shared resources. So this is also the house where things like repressed emotions may come up. It's about transforming your life from the inside out. It's about intimacy with a partner. It's also about shared resources. So it could, you could be dealing with things like joint bank accounts, loans, mortgages, insurance policies, wills, things of that nature. Yeah. And then once the sun moves into Aries, it's going to light up your 9th house of higher education and long distance travel. So that time you may be traveling afar. You may experience, well, particularly with the sun being in Aries, I feel like it's going to energize you to experience new things. So you're going to feel like going on adventures. You're going to feel like broadening your horizons, going on new trips, maybe talking to people that are very different than you. The 9th house also covers things that are foreign to you. So you may be talking to people of different faiths, different cultures, different races, in an attempt to really learn and experience life on a broader scale. So I feel like come Aries season, that's kind of how it's going to play out for you, or more so how you're going to feel like guided, I would say. All right. So you guys are ruled by the sun. And so the sun is going to be in your 8th house. It's going to be in your 9th house. And interestingly enough, this month, the sun makes aspects to the outer planets, meaning that it makes aspects to Neptune, to Pluto, to Uranus. And when planets, like a personal planet makes an aspect to an outer planet, it's more so felt on a general level as opposed to very personally. So whatever aspects are going on with the sun is really going to be felt by all of us this month as opposed to just you. Like if you had the sun conjunct Mercury, for example, that's a very personal transit and you would feel that very personally. But once the sun makes aspects to the outer planets, it's really something that we all feel generally. So this month, the emphasis for you is really on transformation, maybe a time of ending something or beginning something new, and spirituality as well. Okay. I know that was pretty short and sweet, but it's interesting because not everybody experiences the same sort of energy every month. Depending on where everything's going down in your chart and just the general astrology, some months are like jam-packed with activity and other months are just kind of dry. And even between signs, depending on the aspects that the planets are making with respect to that particular sign, some signs have a lot going on some months. Some signs have very little going on. So just know that not everything is distributed evenly when it comes to these interpretations and what's going on for everyone every month. All right. All right, Leo. So let's get a card for you to see what Spirit has to say for March 2022. Oh, you're going to like this. Blessings raining down on you, Leo. All right. So there's something about this, though. It's like, remember I said you have an emphasis on your 8th house and your 9th house. So this is really about your faith. It's about spirituality. It's about transformation. It's almost like these blessings come after you've done like the heavy lifting and the work. So if you really take this month, particularly when the sun is in your 8th house during Pisces season, to really take stock of your emotional well-being, I feel like the transformation that comes about as a result of that is going to be like raining blessings down on you. Meaning that if you do the work, I think that Spirit, the universe, God will take notice and will really bless you with not only what you want in life, but like what you need, like complete transformation from the inside out. So this is something really nice to look forward to, Leo. All right. Very nice. All right. So moving right along, we get to Virgo. All right, Virgo. So for you, March is about relationships and intimacy. So during Pisces season, the sun is in your 7th house of relationships. And so particularly with this new moon in your relationship house, and also with the new moon being conjunct Jupiter, I want you guys to really suspend your realism in order to like really think about the relationship of your dreams. You guys are ruled by Mercury, so you guys are very logical, very analytical, very perfectionist, very detail oriented. And when it comes to relationships, it's almost like you feel like you need to micromanage them, micromanage how you get into them, micromanage everything about them, maybe even the other person. And this new moon is actually getting you to like stop all that and really focus on what you want. How do you want the relationship to feel like? What's your ideal relationship? What's your ideal lover? Do you want romance? Like all of that flowery stuff that a lot of you guys sort of push to the side a lot. You're going to want to focus on that this new moon and this Pisces season in general. Because I feel like if you're really looking to have a relationship or take a relationship to a next level or solidify even some type of business deal or business association, I think you guys are going to want to step out of the box and really tap into your imagination, okay? And then when the sun moves into Aries, it's going to light out your 8th house of intimacy. So if you are in a relationship at that time, it's sort of about taking the relationship to the next level. Not even just sex, but really just becoming one, really merging together, right? Really transforming. For some of you, this is a great time to perhaps get married because with the sun... Caveat with that though, you would really want to look at your personal chart because you may have some wonky aspects or transits that may, contradict what I'm saying. But generally speaking, you may want to take your relationship to the next level when the sun moves into Aries. Okay. And that's also going to be a focus on shared resources. It's going to be a focus on, like I said, with Leo, it's going to be a focus on mortgages, joint bank accounts, tax issues, inheritances, insurance policies, all of that stuff is 8th house. Sun in the 8th house matters. Okay. So you guys are also ruled by Mercury. So the same transits that I spoke about in Gemini apply to you. So Mercury is going to move from Aquarius to Aries this month. So it's going to highlight your 6th, 7th, and 8th houses. So when it comes to communication and thoughts, they're really going to be centered around work, your service to others, health, your relationships and commitments, and intimacy and shared resources. That's where your mind is going to be at this month, okay? So the first aspect that you guys have is Mercury sextile Uranus, and that's going down on the 17th. And that is alertness in your mind, rapid speech. You're going to want to use that energy to plan, strategize, and give presentations. Like you're just going to be really mentally sharp that day. And again, that's March 17th. So you're going to want to take advantage of that in the best way you can. If you need to research, if you need to give a presentation, if you need to speak to someone, if you need to plead your case at that time, you're really going to want to do that on that day, if you can. The next aspect is Mercury conjunct Jupiter, and that's going to be on the 21st. And this is just generally for everybody, just going to be a really great transit and a really good day. But you can expect good news, communication goes well, business dealings go well, a positive attitude, optimism. Like if there's any day that I would put a gold star next to, it would be March 21st for everybody, because that Mercury conjunct Jupiter is going to be like a game changer. All right. Next up, we have Mercury conjunct Neptune, and that's going down on the 23rd. And that's going to be when your creative thoughts flourish. Try not to be so logical. I know that's going to be difficult for you because, like I said before, you guys are ruled by Mercury. So you're going to be very logical, very analytical, but you're going to want to think outside the box and let your imagination wander on that day. And then finally, on the 26th, we have Mercury sextile Pluto. This is going to be good for contracts and written negotiations, but it also signifies intense mental effort. So if you need to study something that is particularly difficult, try to do it around the 26th, because Pluto will give you that depth of intensity that'll allow you to study more complex things If you're looking to study astrology, Mercury sextile Pluto is also a good transit to do that. Astrology, psychology, any of those things are good to go, are good to study on with that particular transit. And again, that's going down on the 26th. All right, Virgo. So that's what the month looks like for you. Let's get a card and see what Spirit has to say for you this month. And I'm laughing because this is really cute. We've got love. And we've got fire. Okay, the fire of your desire burns like the heat of 1,000 suns, Virgo. I'm telling you, when the sun is in Pisces, which is lighting up your 7th house, you're going to want to make moves when it comes to relationships. Even if it's ending a relationship, you might want to cut things off at that time because you want to leave room to create something new. Fire is all about creation. And so at that time, you're going to want to start something new. You're going to want to be bold. You're going to want to really put yourself out there when it comes to relationships. Because let me tell you, love is definitely, love is definitely here for you. All right, Virgo? I like that for you. I really do. All right. So next up, we have Libra. All right, Libra. So for you, March is all about an emphasis on your 6th house of work and health and your 7th house of relationships. Like I mentioned in the new moon portion of this video before, the 6th house is kind of a kind of house. It's sort of mundane. It deals with mundane tasks. It deals with your job. It deals with the service you provide for others. It also deals with your health. So the first part of the month, while the sun is in Pisces, I feel like that's where your attention and focus will be. So you guys may be trying to find ways to be more efficient. Perhaps creatively. You may be thinking outside the box when it comes to getting organized and efficient at work. When it comes to your health, I feel like the new moon is going to give you a really good boost of positive energy. So if you've been dealing with any negative health issues, I feel like you may experience a turn for the better, or you may get information perhaps from afar that will help you get your health back on track at that time. All right. And then once the sun moves into Aries, your 7th house of relationships is going to be lit, and that's where you guys thrive. Libra is the sign of relationships, and so when you've got the sun in your relationship house, it's all about really being yourself and connecting with people. Sun in Aries is all about bold, dynamic, initiating action, and you guys are also a cardinal sign, so you have no problem going up to people you don't know, talking to people, striking up conversations. You guys always know a lot of people, and so when the sun is in your 7th house, that's definitely the time for you to reach out and connect with people, commit to people, lock things down. If you're doing business, it's a great time to get new business contracts, maybe even get some new business partners. Sun in Aries is going to be great for you for that. So keep that in mind. All right. And then Aries season starts on the 20th. So by the second half of the month, that is where your focus and attention is going to go. All right. So you guys are ruled by Venus. And like I said before, Venus and Mars are conjunct all month. So again, relationships on the brain, but you wouldn't have it any other way because you guys are really the relationship sign. So it's sort of par for the course for you guys. All right. So Venus conjunct Pluto around the new moon on today, the 2nd. It's endings or transformation with relationships. So your relationship might be going to the next level, or it might be going in the trash. Really depends on your particular situation, but that's sort of how that may play out. Again, you guys may also have intense sexual urges. And even though I pulled the card for Taurus when it came to sexual urges and transmuting that energy, I think you guys, particularly that Taurus is ruled by Venus, you guys are ruled by Venus. I think the same sort of applies for you. When it comes to that sexual energy, try to transmute it into something creative, into something lucrative. I think that's really going to help you this month, and particularly with your manifestations. All right. And again, with Venus conjunct Pluto, you guys may have emotional trauma from past relationships coming up. Deal with it, process it, let it go, move on. All right. The next transit you guys have is Venus square Uranus, and that's going to be on March 19th. That's issues of identity and aesthetic in conflict with work, environment, stuff like that. So again, there may be this energy of, for you guys, being that your relationship sign, stability in your relationships being a certain way, with you perhaps wanting to break free, maybe being yourself, sort of going left and being individualistic in your relationship. Some of you may want freedom in a relationship, perhaps from a relationship that's tying you down. So pay attention to how your relationship is moving, and more importantly, how you feel. Definitely around the 19th, because you may feel a bit of a conflict. You may feel some friction and frustration in your relationships at that time. Okay. And then next up, we have Venus conjunct Saturn, which is on the 28th. And like I mentioned before, this is about getting serious about your relationships, about your money, about your creativity. You're going to want to get structured. Okay. Venus conjunct Saturn is great for commitment, but it's not very warm and fuzzy. It's very structured. It's very, let's put this relationship in a box. Let's call it this. Let's identify it as that. And while that's not necessarily sexy and fun, it's definitely an important part of relationships. And I feel like a lot of you may be going through that at that time. What to call yourselves, whether you want to get married. How is this relationship going to work in a practical day-to-day way? Are we going to live together? Are we going to join funds? Like, how does the practicality of our relationship look? And I feel like around the 28th, issues like that will come up. Perhaps if you're not in a relationship, or even if you're just seeking one, Venus conjunct Saturn may just get you serious about your criteria for a relationship. So let's say you want to date only entrepreneurs, or you only want to date people who live in a certain place, or your criteria for relationships are going to come up, and they're going to be more important to you or more relevant at that time. All right. So keep an eye out for that. And that's going to be on the 28th. All right. So Libra, let's get a card for you. Okay. We've got spirits. Interesting. Okay. Something about this is giving me like very, very like drunken vibes. Spirits, like alcohol and spirits. Okay. Particularly when the sun is in Pisces and there is an emphasis on your 6th house. Be mindful of drinking too much. Be mindful of just like, you may want to detox your liver. You may want to get your drinking under control at that time, because I feel there's something about drinking and your health that's coming up. So forewarned is forearmed, I should say. So be cognizant of your alcohol intake this month. Okay. Interesting. All right. So moving right along, we're coming up to Scorpio. All right, Scorpio. So for you, March has an emphasis on your 5th house of self-expression, romance, and kids, and your 6th house of work and health. So while the sun is in Pisces, it's really a time for you to have fun and let loose. It's a time for you to not be so serious. It's a time for you to just really enjoy life, express yourself. If you have kids, you may want to spend more time with your kids. If you want to date, the sun in Pisces is a great time for you to do that, because it's sort of going to be at the forefront of your thoughts. Add some lighthearted energy to your life while the sun is in Pisces. And again, have fun, enjoy yourself, indulge in entertainment, express yourself. If you have a creative endeavor that you want to start, the first half of the month is perfect for that. All right. Then the second half is going to be a little more serious. When the sun moves into Aries, it's going to light up your 6th house of work and health. So at that time, you're going to want to start new things. Maybe start a new job. Look for a new job. Maybe start new job projects at your current job. Maybe start a new health regimen or workout routine. Like, Aries season is going to be the perfect time for that. It's going to be a great time to get your health under control, get organized, start new things at work. It's going to give you a breath of fresh air and like a turbocharge of energy in that sector of your life. Okay. Your ruling planet is Mars. And so, like I've said like 1,000,001 times already, Mars and Venus are conjunct pretty much all month. So you're going to have relationships on the brain. It's going to be sex. It's going to be also issues of control in relationships, and not even just in romantic relationships. Are you powerful or powerless in any of your relationships? Are you controlling, or do you let others control you? Those are sort of the issues that come up with Venus conjunct Mars as well. Okay. And so today, Mars is going to be conjunct Pluto. So that goes into what I was just saying about power struggles, aggression. You're going to want to steer clear of conflicts at this time. Like, lay low, try not to pop off, like just lay low, basically. All right. And then also at work for you guys, definitely be mindful of conflicts with customers, with clients. You're going to want to keep a level head and keep your cool because things could get intense very quickly. All right. And then on the 22nd, Mars will square Uranus. And how this is going to play out is you're going to feel rebellious and want to break free from groups, from associations. Like, there's going to be this energy of like sort of perhaps going with the crowd and being by yourself. Like, sometimes like majority rules over what you really want. That's how that transit is going to play out. So you may feel a little tension with people around you at that time. There may be, like having to make sacrifices for the greater good versus what you need, what you want, what you believe, kind of a thing. So be mindful of that around the 22nd when Mars squares Uranus. All right. That's pretty much how the month plays out for you. So let's get a card for you, Scorpio, and see what Spirit has to say about it. Yes, this is rising signs. And if you're just joining or if you're just joining or whatever, this is definitely going to be on the replay. And hopefully I can timestamp it so you guys can get to your sign quickly and see what I have to say about that. All right, so this is going to be the card for Scorpio. This is knowledge. Okay, interesting. There's something that you have to learn this month, Scorpio. And I feel like it has to do with your level of power. I feel like some of you are going to learn exactly how much power you have. I get the sense that a lot of you, I'm not going to say you've been feeling powerless lately, but I feel like you haven't been viewing yourself accurately. Some of you may see yourselves as less than, or some of you may see other people as more powerful or more whatever. And I feel like this month is going to school you on just how powerful you actually are. Okay, so you're going to want to pay attention to whatever lessons come up. Conflict can be very eye-opening. And even though you're going to want to shy away from conflict because things can really pop off this month, I think that whatever conflict may arise, it's ultimately a learning lesson for you in how you see yourself, how you view yourself, and how you treat yourself. Okay, so there's a lot to learn for you this month, Scorpio. Very interesting. All right. So next up, we have Sagittarius. All right, Sagittarius. So for you, you're going to have an emphasis on your 4th house of home and domestic affairs and your 5th house of self-expression, romance, and children. So while the sun is in Pisces, you guys are going to be focused on home. Home is definitely where the heart is during Pisces season. Home covers your physical home. It covers the inhabitants of your home. It covers your close family members. It covers your domestic partners. It covers roommates. It covers your lineage. It covers your ancestry. So these are all of the things that may be coming up for you while the sun is in Pisces. And particularly with the new moon in Pisces, if you're looking to buy a home, if you're looking to change residence, if you're looking to get closer to family members, do anything with close family members, particularly your parents or grandparents, this would be the new moon to do so. Okay. All right. And then once the sun moves into Aries, it's time for you guys to be lighthearted and have fun. Particularly for you guys with the sun in Aries, if you're looking to conceive, now would be the time to do it when the sun is in Aries. If you're looking to start dating, having more fun, starting creative endeavors, giving birth to your ideas and your imagination, you're going to want to do that when the sun is in Aries, and that begins on March 20th. Okay. So you guys are ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is going to be in Neptune all month. Jupiter is at home in Neptune. So its energy is super potent. That's one of the reasons why this new moon is so positive and it's so powerful for all of us, because Jupiter is in its home sign and the new moon is conjunct Jupiter. So it's a lot of abundance, a lot of things being larger than life, a lot of expansion, and a lot of growth. Okay, so like I said, it's conjunct the new moon today. So whatever manifestations or seeds you plant right now, it's like Jupiter is going to be sprinkling positivity, abundance, and just goodness all over it. So it's going to be really nice. All right. The next one we have is on March 5th, and that's the Sun conjunct Jupiter. And I love this transit. It's one of my favorite transits for everyone. You guys are going to feel it a bit more because you are ruled by Jupiter. But that gives you optimism and self-confidence. Like, it gives you the gumption to really go after the things that you want. Very self-confident energy, very like lit solar plexus chakra. Love it. And again, that's going down on the 5th. So if you're looking to do something new, if you're looking to expand something, if you're looking to be arguably even a little more brave, like let's say you've been hesitant to do something, you might want to do it on the 5th because you're going to have this optimism toward whatever you're doing, and you're going to have the self-confidence to back it up. So keep that in mind for March 5th. And then on the 21st, we have Mercury conjunct Jupiter, which is also a wonderful transit that I spoke about before. That's good news and communication. It's a positive attitude. On that day, business transactions go well. It's just an overall great day to communicate with people, to get things done, and to have good thoughts, like positive thoughts. And again, that is going down on March 21st. So you're going to want to keep that in mind as well. All right, Sagittarius. So let's get a card for you and see what Spirit has to say for you for the month of March. Okay. Earth. This is about getting grounded. Okay. So with Jupiter in its home sign, and Jupiter is your ruling planet, it's like larger than life. You know, Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system, and it expands everything. And with Jupiter being in Pisces, it's about like this otherworldly sort of energy. And Spirit is like, well, that is well and great. I'm going to need you to be grounded at times. Okay. And this is giving me very fourth house vibes. And again, when the sun is in Pisces, it's lighting up your fourth house. So there's something about your home that you need to get realistic about, whether it's your physical home, whether it's your living situation, whether it's the occupants of your home. I think that you're going to have to get very grounded and realistic and practical about it. Some of you may be breaking ground for a property or something like that. Others of you, this is just about getting very practical about your house, perhaps the way it looks, perhaps the people that live in it. Maybe you need to get very realistic about a situation at home or a situation with a family member. But at some point, you might have to take off the rose-colored glasses just for a little bit and get a bit grounded and realistic this month. But that doesn't mean that you stop dreaming. It doesn't mean that you stop imagining. It doesn't mean that you don't let your mind wander and be just larger than life. Just make sure that you ground yourself every now and then this month. All right? All right, so moving right along, we get to Capricorn. All right, Capricorn. So for you, March has an emphasis on your third house of communication and ideas and your fourth house of home and domestic affairs. So when the sun is in Pisces, you guys are going to have your third house lit. So don't be surprised if the first half of the month, well, actually, since Pisces season began last month and until Pisces season ends on the 19th, you guys might be really busy. The third house is the busybody house. So that's transacting business. That's going around your neighborhood. That's talking to people in your immediate vicinity. It's taking short-term trips. It also covers your siblings and your extended family members. So a lot of you guys may be communicating with these type of people. A lot of you guys may be doing things in your neighborhood, maybe transacting business, maybe just doing projects with neighbors, talking to neighbors, whatever. But regardless, this is the house of like busybody energy. And it's also about being social. So Pisces isn't about you being social. So you're really going to want to get out there. I know some of you can be chained to your desk a lot. So this month you're going to want to sort of get out there and socialize with people, at least in the first half of the month. Okay. And the new moon is perfect to set intentions and manifestations geared toward transacting business, anything having to do with siblings or extended family members, short-term trips. So at this new moon, you guys may want to take a quick weekend trip or go someplace. Short-term trips also cover places you've been before. So maybe there's a favorite place that you have. You may want to travel there during the new moon, or at least like, you know, the days surrounding the new moon. Anything having to do with your neighborhood or community, if you're looking to start a project, if you want to build something in your neighborhood, or sometimes the new moon finds that maybe it's not you building something in your neighborhood, but something is being built in your neighborhood. Something new is coming up in your neighborhood or immediate vicinity. So you may learn of this at the new moon, okay? Yes, and then when the sun moves into Aries, it's going to light up your 4th house of home and domestic affairs. And so at that time, it's sort of like the time where you get a little more private. Home becomes the focus, whether it's your physical home, whether it's your property, or whether it's your family members. That's where your focus and attention is going to go come Aries season. And it might be starting something new at that time. Changing residences, changing occupants in your home, moving someplace new, purchasing property. You know, Aries is all about dynamic, bold, initiating energy. So when the sun is in Aries and it's lighting up your 4th house, you're going to want to initiate new things at home or related to home. All right. Your ruling planet is Saturn, and Saturn is in Aquarius all month. All right. So you don't have that many aspects to Saturn this month, but the first one you have is Mercury conjunct Saturn today at the time of the new moon. And this can be a bit of a downer kind of transit. This is where you have criticism, negative thoughts, maybe even a little bit of depression or disappointment. But I feel like as Capricorns, you guys are used to this. Not that you have it all the time, but because you're ruled by Saturn, I feel like you guys can sort of deal with it a bit better because you guys are very, like, it's ingrained in you to be able to deal with the harshness of life. And so I feel like this transit, you're sort of just, it's going to roll off your back like water on a duck, right? Because you're sort of used to it. But if you find that around this time, you're either more critical of yourself or people are critical of you, just know that it's not going to last long. It only will last for a day or two, and then you can move on. All right. And then at the end of the month on the 28th, we have Venus conjunct Saturn. And this is about getting serious about relationships, structuring your relationship, structuring your money, perhaps monetizing your creativity. All of those things are really hallmark characteristics of Venus conjunct Saturn. And it's putting, being that Saturn is in Aquarius, it's about putting a structure in place that can help you in the future. So for instance, you may want to put your money into a particular financial vehicle. Okay. Wait, I got to plug in my computer real quick. Okay. Oh, hold on a second. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So like I was saying, Venus conjunct Saturn, you may want to put your money into a particular financial vehicle. Maybe you want to put it in investment. Maybe you want to put it in savings. Whatever you want to do, it's about setting a structure that can help you in the future, either relating to money or relating to relationships. All right. And so that's pretty much how the month is going to look like for you, Capricorn. So let's pull a card and see what we have here for you for March. All right. Ooh, we've got new moon. So yeah, this new moon going down in your 3rd house. This may be the new moon where you make business plans. You set business plans in motion. Because remember I said the 3rd house covers like business transactions. It covers contracts. It covers communication. So if you're looking to have something new with respect to that, if you're looking to have different business transactions, more business transactions, you're going to want to plant those seeds today at this new moon. It's going to be extremely beneficial for you, Capricorn. All right. So moving right along, we get to Aquarius. And for you, Aquarius, you're going to have an emphasis on your 2nd house of money and material possessions and your 3rd house of communication and ideas. So while the sun is in Pisces, your 2nd house of money and material possessions is going to be lit. And so at that time, you're going to want to think outside the box when it comes to getting more money, different income streams, saving for big ticket items, accumulating assets. All of those things are governed by the 2nd house. And when the sun is in Pisces, that is where your attention is going to be focused. And with the new moon in Pisces happening today, this is the new moon where you set intentions related to money. If you want more money, different money. I mean, most people want more money, right? you're going to want to set those intentions at this new moon, okay? And then once the sun moves into Aries, your third house of communication and ideas is going to be lit. And that's when you're going to get really busy. That's when you're going to be thinking about business transactions, communications, text messages, siblings, neighbors, your community, all of that stuff governed by the third house. That's where your focus is going to go once the sun moves into Aries, okay? You guys are also ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is actually in your sign all month. So again, these are all by rising signs. So Aquarius, Saturn is going to be in your first house of self. So you guys are learning a lot of discipline, and you guys are sort of learning harsh lessons when it comes to structure, when it comes to boundaries, personal boundaries especially, okay? But you're doing this in a very Aquarian sort of way, which is innovative, right? It's like setting boundaries, but not in the way that people may expect or not in the way that people usually do, all right? So the first aspect you guys have is Mercury conjunct Saturn, and that's today on the 2nd. And again, that's negative thinking, it's criticism, it's disappointment, it's depression. These are sort of the things, and that's sort of how this transit plays out. But again, being that you guys are ruled by Saturn, I think that you guys are sort of used to this. You're not used to it in the same way that Capricorn is. I think Capricorn is more equipped to deal with like the ugly side of life. I feel like you guys are a little more optimistic than Capricorn, I would say. But I feel like this isn't going to be a transit that really going to affect you that much. You guys are very good at practicing detachment. So I feel like whatever comes your way that may be negative, whether it's negative self-talk, whether it's someone saying negative to you or about you, I think you guys are just going to detach from it and be like, you know what the fuck ever. But that's just something to be mindful of today and within the next couple of days. All right. And then the next transit that you guys have is Venus conjunct Saturn on the 28th. And that's taking money, relationships, creativity seriously and bringing structure to it. I feel like you're going to want to structure those things for the future. Again, everyone's got relationships on the brain with Mercury and Mars, particularly in your sign this month. So with this going down in your first house, you've got Venus and Mars conjunct Saturn. Well, Mars is not necessarily going to be conjunct Saturn on the 28th, but Mars is going to be in the vicinity. I think that you guys are really going to be thinking about your criteria for relationships, what you value when it comes to relationships, how you want them to look, how are they going to be practically structured, how are they going to fit into your life, what adjustments do you have to make personally for your relationships or for your money or for your creativity. I feel like that is how Venus conjunct Saturn is going to play out for you, okay? And that's going to be on the 28th. All right, Aquarius, so let's get a card for you. Let's see what Spirit has to say for the month for you. All right. We've got Talisman. So Talisman is a key. So there's something very... I'm hearing major key, in DJ Khaled voice, like something about your personal development, about your outlook on life, about the structures in your life. Something's going to be a major key this month. So I really need you guys to keep your eyes and ears open because I feel like you're going to get some information that's going to unlock a door for you. All right. Someone's got that major key in order to unlock something for you. And it's going to be something very personal, something that's personal to you. I'm hearing like hack your life. Someone's going to give you some information that's going to make your life easier. Maybe it's a weight loss hack. Maybe it's like a way to think act. I'm also hearing like learning how to speed read or any of those sort of things that can make your life more efficient or I'm not going to say more valuable, but like more efficient, where you can run better, you can operate better on a personal level. I feel like someone's going to give you that information this month. So you're going to want to keep your eyes and ears open. All right. And last but certainly not least, we have Pisces. All right. For you, first of all, happy birthday. Those of you that have your birthdays in March, I wish you all the abundance in the world. It's your time. Turn up and live life to the fullest. Okay, so you've got a lot of emphasis on your first and second houses this month. So while the sun is in Pisces, it's all about you. It's your personal new year. It's your solar return. That's when you sort of revamp your life. That's when you move forward with these new goals and ideals that you have, and particularly with the new moon going on in your sign on the 2nd. This is the new moon where you want to reinvent yourself, where you can start fresh. You can start fresh with your body, with your appearance, with your outlook, with your attitude, with your thoughts. All of those things are up for grabs for the new moon, so take advantage. And you know how you feel, all of us, you know how you feel when it's your birthday and it's your season, right? Like you feel hyped, you feel amped, you feel really good. And so, the party's still going, at least until March 20th. Okay. So keep the party going, reinvent yourself, and move forward fearlessly. Because when the sun moves into Aries, your second house of money and material possessions is going to be lit. And that's when you're going to be focusing on money and finances and big ticket items and things that you value. The second house isn't always just about money. It's also about the things that you value. So that's where your focus is going to go when the sun moves into Aries, okay? Your ruling planet is Jupiter, just like Sagittarius. And so Jupiter is actually in your sign all month, and Jupiter is at home in Pisces. So that Jupiterian energy is so working for you. It's putting a lot of positivity in your life, even if you can't see it and feel it, okay? So it's all about expansion and growth. You're going to want to spread your wings this month, okay? The first aspect we have is Jupiter conjunct the new moon. This is going to expand any intentions or manifestations that you make at the new moon. It's also going to sprinkle some abundance and positivity on those intentions. So you're going to want to dream big. You're going to want to take this new moon seriously and do whatever you can to plant those seeds. And with it going down in your first house, it's all about personal goals. If you have a body weight goal or body look, if you have, goals that are personal to yourself, to your heart, you're going to want to plant those seeds and set those intentions at the new moon, which is happening today. Okay. The next aspect we have is Sun conjunct Jupiter on the 5th. I love this transit because it gives you a lot of optimism and self-confidence. So if there's anything that you've been neglecting to do out of fear, out of insecurity, you're going to want to do it around the 5th because you're going to be really feeling yourself at that time. And Jupiter is going to give you all the help and the energy you need to really put yourself out there. Okay. And then finally, we have Mercury conjunct Jupiter on the 21st, which is another excellent transit, okay? It's good news, good communication, whether you're giving or receiving. It's a positive attitude. Business transactions go really well at that time, so you're going to want to take advantage of that energy and get out there, socialize. It's going to be a really great day. And, again, it's your month. It's your personal new year, so enjoy it to the fullest, all right? And let's get one last card here for Pisces. All right. Oh, perfect. Look at what I was just talking about, the new moon. You really need to take advantage of this new moon, okay? You're really going to want to do the most with it. And even if you don't get to do anything tonight, do something tomorrow. Whether it's scripting, whether it's, just writing out your intentions, affirming, doing any rituals that you may do for the new moon. Really focus on your intentions. Really focus on yourself. Allow your imagination to wander and dream and think big, because these intentions that you set now will almost definitely come to fruition, because Jupiter is really in the mix, particularly for you in Sagittarius that are ruled by Jupiter. Like, you guys can really benefit from this. So again, use the energy to its fullest. All right. All right, my loves, that has been the Astro forecast for March 2022. Thank you so much for rocking with me for this hour and 40 minutes. I know some of you are, into your new moon ritual. So if you spent your evening with me, I am super grateful and thankful for your presence. As always, it is a privilege and an honor to bring this information to you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was informative, and I will definitely see you next time. Take care.